No one wants me for a parking lot anymore. All right, in Matthew chapter 5, we have in verse 3 on through 11, we have the Beatitudes. Blessed. To live a blessed life. But what's really going on here is conformity to the image of Christ. This is a great description of who Christ truly was as he walked upon this earth. Now, some people have trouble with that because they go, well, blessed are those who mourn, they shall be comforted. Well, it's not simply, as in our case, mourning over our own sin, for Christ had no sin, but mourning over the fallen state of the things around him. But I just want to go and touch on one thing that is so very important, I think will be very helpful, is this verse 5. Blessed are the gentle. The word also is often translated meek. Blessed are the gentle, or the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When I hear preachers and people preach on this, I'm always hearing, usually the same thing. Well, blessed are the meek. And that doesn't mean blessed are the weak. It doesn't mean that you allow people to step on you or this or that, but that you're humble, and then maybe go to Moses, who was the meekest man on earth, and yet he was a great leader. And those are things possibly about meekness, but really not telling me, what does this mean? I mean, what does it really mean? Does it mean to be meek? What does that word mean? Does it mean to be just gentle, like a gentleman? I don't think gentle is a very good translation. I like the translation meek. And we're going to see why. Now, how are we going to find out as Bible students what this means? Do we do a word study in Greek? Well, that would be very helpful. But you should understand that oftentimes a word is, the meaning of it is determined not by going simply to a lexicon and looking up the meaning, but it's defined by its context. Its context. Now, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. After doing a study of the word meek, which means meek or gentle, then we should ask ourselves, well, is this found any other place in Scripture? Is there anything like this in any other place in Scripture? And fortunately, there is. Now, let's go to the book of Psalms. Verse 37. Psalms 37. Now notice, then in our Matthew passage it says, blessed are the meek, for they shall, what? Inherit the earth. Now go to Psalms 37:11. But the humble will inherit the land and will delight themselves in abundant prosperity. The humble will inherit the land. Now I want us to look at this passage, and in the context of this passage, Psalms 37, we're going to understand what it means to be meek and to experience the blessedness of meekness. Now, what does it mean to be a man who is meek? Look in verse 1. Do not fret because of evildoers. Be not envious toward wrongdoers. Okay, now remember what a Christian is. He is a man behind enemy lines in a fallen world, surrounded by darkness, a world that is led by the prince of the power of the air, sons of disobedience, children of wrath, all around him. So, he's going to have evildoers and wrongdoers all around him. One of the things that we'll notice about the meek man is he does not fret. He isn't running with panic because the political situation has gone strange for him. Or he just received a message from some Christian internet or radio thing that Y2K is coming or something. He does not fret, and we're going to see why pretty soon. He has a strong confidence in his God. He isn't oblivious to all the bad things that are going on. It's just all the bad things going on can't compare to the one who controls his life and the entire universe. It's like fretting because a tiny little man who weighs 75 pounds soaking wet and can't even lift your shoe has walked in the door threatening you, and yet standing beside you is a bodyguard that would make Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a wimp. He doesn't fret. Why? Because he has a view of who God is. He has a view of the character of God. He has great confidence in that character. Do not fret because of evildoers. Be not envious towards wrongdoers. Now, why is he saying that? Because even in the theme of Scripture, we can see that it is quite frequent in this world that the wicked prosper. And many times the righteous who maybe do not prosper. The righteous look at the wicked and are envious of them. But the meek man, he doesn't do that. He doesn't look at the wicked and envy them for their wealth. He doesn't look at men who have compromised spiritually for gain and envy them. Even the psalmist, got distracted there. He saw the wicked. He was envious of them. He wanted to be like them until he went back to the temple and he saw God. You see, so this meek man, he doesn't worry or fret about all the things going on around him, even though all hell may be breaking loose and the very foundations of the world are shaking, and he doesn't envy wicked men for the same reason. His strong confidence in God. He doesn't envy them because he knows what God has said about them, and he knows if God has said it, it's true. He wouldn't trade places with them for all the money in the world. Now, for he knows they will wither quickly like the grass and fade like the green herb. Now see, he can only know this. He can't know this by experience. Now maybe there'll be a few instances where a rich man will die, or a powerful man will lose all his power. Maybe he'll see that every once in a while. But basically by experience, he doesn't know this. He knows this because God said it. I mean, I don't see a lot of wicked men withering quickly nor fading like green herb. Now it happens. But he knows this because God told him it's true. So this meek man is someone who knows God and has ultimate confidence in God and what God says. Now, trust in the Lord and do good. Now, in the midst of all these men rejecting God, running away from God, hating God, and doing evil, everyone's going this way. This meek man is walking the opposite direction of everybody. He's walking toward God, toward God's will. Everyone else is rejecting God. He's trusting in God. Everyone else is doing evil. He is trusting God and doing good. He's almost like a man with blinders, and we're going to see how this really comes in to the picture. Years and years ago when I was a little boy, there was still a family in our town that did not use a car. They used a horse and wagon. And they weren't Amish or Mennonite. That's what they did. You could hear them coming right down our street because they didn't have any tires on the wagon. And so it was just rims. You'd hear it coming. Half a mile down the road, you'd hear them coming. I believe their name was the McGee's. All right, those horses had blinders on, and they put blinders on horses. They don't look anyplace else except straight forward. This meek man is not distracted by all the things he sees to his right and all the things that he sees to the left, by everything he sees everybody else doing. He's not distracted by bad news, the world's coming to an end. He's not, none of that. Why? He's got his eyes fixed upon God.